Remember in 2012 when the Avengers first brought together superheroes from the different Marvel Cinematic Universe movie series? It was exciting, it was invigorating, it was glorious, and looking back on it 7 years later, it was quaint. In 2018, Avengers 3 upped the bar by including many times more superheroes than the number we saw in the first Avengers movie, and Avengers Endgame promises to top its predecessor in sheer superpower. With over 30 superheroes to cram into the story, it's no surprise that the movie will clock in at approximately 3 hours. That leads us to the most important question of all. Which superheroes will we see? After all, Thanos snapped away half of all life in the universe, including half of the MCU's heroes. Plus, several characters were lost before the decimation ever happened. Will we be seeing some of these seemingly deceased characters again? In short, yes. Let's take a look at the massive collection of superheroes who will be gracing the screen in Endgame. Let's start with the characters we know survived the dusting. Anyone who's seen an Endgame trailer knows that Captain America and Black Widow will be playing a major role in the movie. That being said, this is apparently expected to be Captain America's last MCU outing, so he will likely be getting a heftier amount of screen time than he did in Avengers 3. If you stuck around for the end credits of Captain Marvel, you were also treated to some extra intel in the form of a post-credit scene. The scene featured Cap, Black Widow, Rhodey, Bruce Banner, and appeared to take place at the beginning of Endgame, which means that the foursome has been working together after the snap. Rhodey suffered a terrible injury during the events of Captain America Civil War, but recovered enough to suit up in Avengers 3. Judging from the Captain Marvel end credit sequence, he'll be sticking by the team. Bruce Banner joined the fight against Thanos too, even though he was having some, performance issues when it came to hulking out. It's been reported that Mark Ruffalo, who portrays Banner, has been seen on set of the movie in a motion capture suit, so it's likely that Banner's superpowered alter ego will be back in fighting form in Endgame. Ever since Nick Fury paged her during the end of Avengers 3, fans have anticipated seeing Captain Marvel in Endgame. Any hint at how she would join the team was kept under wraps until her self-titled movie was released. Now we know that somehow the team of Captain America, Black Widow, Rhodey, and Bruce Banner get their hands on the pager, and Captain Marvel followed the signal to their location. We also know that Marvel Studios' Kevin Feige has said that Captain Marvel is the MCU's most powerful character. So if she shows up early in the film, as the footage we've seen indicates, it seems certain that she'll play a big role in the events of Endgame. Thor made quite an impression when he showed up during Avengers 3's battle for Wakanda with Stormbreaker, but it wasn't enough to stop Thanos. We don't know much about what Thor's been up to after making it through the snap, though he's shown meeting Captain Marvel in the final scene of the Endgame trailer, suggesting he's working with the Avengers team in some capacity. In Avengers 3, Rocket, Raccoon, and Groot teamed up with Thor. With Groot turned to dust after the snap, it seems that a grieving Rocket stayed behind with his new Asgardian buddy. The trailers show him suiting up with the rest of the Avengers in their quest to fix things. Suffice it to say, Rocket and his impressively large firearms will be all in on this fight. Ant-Man was under house arrest during the events of Avengers 3. In Ant-Man and the Wasp, fans also learned that he was involved in his own adventure rescuing Janet Van Dyne from the Quantum Realm. The Quantum Realm is exactly where he was at the end of the film. His location meant that he avoided the decimation, but his extraction team of Hope, Janet, and Hank Pym weren't so lucky, and the inopportune timing left Scott Lang trapped. Based on the trailers, we know that Lang gets out of the Quantum Realm somehow. We also know from the trailers that he shows up to help the Avengers, and there's been speculation that with his ties to the Quantum Realm, Ant-Man may be the key to reversing Thanos' snap. Another Avenger who sat out Avengers 3 is Hawkeye. While he was one of the original members of the Avengers, the events of Civil War kept him home with his family. The same won't be true for Endgame, where he'll show up in Japan with a new haircut and a sword, instead of his traditional bow and arrow. The trailers show that in the wake of the decimation, Hawkeye has taken up the mantle of Ronin. It's rumored that his changed persona and return to the superhero fold is triggered by the demise of his entire family. If that is the case, you can bet he's eager to take part in any mission that could reverse Thanos' actions. Iron Man, Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, and several Guardians of the Galaxy made a valiant attempt to take down Thanos on Titan. Ultimately, they failed, and soon after, the majority of the team was turned to dust, leaving only Iron Man and Nebula still alive. Based on Tony Stark's message to Pepper in the first trailer, the pair is now adrift in space, and their oxygen is about to run out. Dire circumstances for sure. That may be where Pepper comes in. We know from Marvel's recent release of Endgame character posters that Pepper survived the snap. Fans have speculated that she will be suiting up again in an Iron Man suit to become Rescue, so it's possible Pepper will play an important role in saving Tony and Nebula. Gwyneth Paltrow has said that she was on the Endgame set with Robert Downey Jr. and Don Cheadle. That could mean that the Iron Man pals will be back together again on Earth. Of course, fans have also long been aware that Endgame is likely to be Downey's last movie with the MCU. His Iron Man was the one who kicked things off in 2008, so witnessing his exit could definitely signal the end of an era. Only time will tell if and how Endgame wraps up Tony Stark's story. Okoye, leader of the Protectors of Wakanda's king, survived the snap, but watched T'Challa turn to dust right in front of her. Endgame directors Joe and Anthony Russo have hinted that this puts her in a challenging and painful position. It remains to be seen how that will impact her character when she returns in Endgame. We didn't see Wong after the first half of Avengers 3, so fans spent several months guessing if he survived Thanos or went the way of his dusty magical counterpart, Doctor Strange. In September, actor Benedict Wong put any speculation to rest when he shared a photo of himself on the set of Endgame. He appeared to be sporting a prosthetic of his hair and face, which led some fans to wonder if his character might turn out to be a Skrull. After Captain Marvel portrayed the Skrulls as good guys, that interpretation of the photo seems less likely. What's actually going on and what role Wong will play in Endgame is still anybody's guess. Fans were worried that Valkyrie didn't survive Thanos' attack on the Asgardian ship at the beginning of Avengers 3, and that if she survived, she was decimated by his snap. Either way, no one knew for sure since Valkyrie hadn't been seen since Thor Ragnarok. The Endgame team kept things quiet for a long time, but the Russos eventually confirmed that Valkyrie survived. Meanwhile, actress Tessa Thompson added on Twitter that her character was thriving. Fans expect that Valkyrie will appear in a cameo in Endgame. Since Thompson was seen flying to Atlanta, the location of Endgame reshoots, with Chris Hemsworth, those expectations have intensified. Now let's turn our attention to the superheroes who weren't lucky enough to make it out of Avengers 3 alive. Their ends were tragic, but at least some of them are going to make a comeback, starting with Spider-Man. Marvel's Phage has confirmed that Spider-Man will appear in Endgame. Plus, just a couple short months after Endgame hits theaters, Peter Parker will be headlining his second solo film, Spider-Man: Far From Home. So all signs point to the character making a triumphant return to the living in Endgame. Another character whose presence in Spider-Man: Far From Home suggests he'll be resurrected is Nick Fury. Last seen turning to dust as he sent a last-minute page to Captain Marvel, Fury's quick actions may have saved him. Sebastian Stan, who plays Bucky Barnes, confirmed Nick Fury's return in Endgame. There's no word on whether or not he'll be accompanied by Maria Hill, who disintegrated beside him in Avengers 3. One way or another, though, Colby Smulders will be back in Far From Home. We saw the sad demise of Black Panther in Avengers 3, but until now, we didn't know the fate of his genius sister, Shuri. Marvel's character posters confirm what we suspected since she was listed as missing in the Endgame trailer. Shuri perished in the snapping. It's a huge loss for Wakanda and the world. Fortunately, these characters won't be gone for long. Not only will they be back for a second Black Panther film, which Marvel is currently developing, they've confirmed to return in Endgame. One of the groups that suffered the most in Avengers 3 was the Guardians of the Galaxy. First, Gamora met her end at Thanos' hands, and Star-Lord, Drax, Mantis, and Groot turned to ash in the decimation. Groot's return has been confirmed, along with several of the other lovable misfits. Dave Bautista and Palm Clementif have confirmed that their characters, Drax and Mantis, will be back as well. Meanwhile, it was Shuri actor Letitia Wright who confirmed Chris Pratt's Star-Lord would return. She commented on the joys of filming with the actor. Captain America's besties Bucky Barnes and Falcon bit the dust in Avengers 3. Rumors have long swirled that either Bucky or Falcon will become the new Captain America once Steve Rogers lays down his shield. Also, the two will co-star in a series about their characters for Disney's new streaming service, Disney+. None of that could happen if they aren't resurrected, and both actors have confirmed they will be back for Endgame. Anthony Mackie, who plays Falcon, tweeted a selfie from the set showing him sitting in a chair emblazoned with his character's name. As for Bucky, the Russos said that in Endgame, he and Cap will complete the personal journey they began in Captain America: The Winter Soldier. The family that consists of the Wasp, Hank Pym, and Janet Van Dyne are all scheduled to return too. Last seen as ash blowing in the wind at the end of Ant-Man and the Wasp, the trio have yet to meet an Avenger outside of Scott Lang. In Endgame, that will change. In an interview, Sebastian Stan revealed that he'd appeared in a scene with Michael Douglas and Michelle Pfeiffer, who play Pym and Van Dyne. If Pym and Van Dyne are back, it's hard to believe that their daughter wouldn't be as well, and Wasp actor Evangeline Lilly confirmed that she'd also be appearing in the movie. However, Lilly cautioned that we shouldn't expect her to be on screen for very long. Still, a little Wasp is better than no Wasp at all. While details have remained scarce, it seems certain that Benedict Cumberbatch's Doctor Strange will be returning in Endgame as well. While promoting Avengers 3, Tom Holland, who plays Spider-Man, let it slip that Cumberbatch had the most difficult lines. Why? He talks a lot about the quantum realm. Doctor Strange never mentions the quantum realm in Avengers 3 though, so it's safe to assume that that's what he'll be doing in Endgame. Another Doctor Strange character will be making a surprise return for Endgame, Tilda Swinton's The Ancient One. The character met her demise at the hands of Kesselis in Doctor Strange. However, an executive producer on Endgame, Frank Grillo, revealed that Swinton was on set of Endgame. The Ancient One isn't expected to be resurrected, however. Instead, her appearance will probably take the form of a flashback or be the result of time travel. Vision and Scarlet Witch were both last seen right before Thanos' snap. After Thanos took out the Vision to retrieve the Mind Stone embedded in his head, Scarlet Witch disintegrated in the decimation. Since then, both have been confirmed for Endgame. Elizabeth Olsen, who plays Scarlet Witch, was spotted in Atlanta for Endgame reshoots in September. Around that time, Paul Bettany posted a photo of himself in full Vision regalia filling out paperwork on the Endgame set. It makes sense that Scarlet Witch would return with the other dusted characters, but it's still open for debate if Vision will be resurrected. There is some speculation that after Shuri's attempts to save him, Vision's consciousness may be alive and well in Wakanda's computers. Either way, Scarlet Witch and Vision are scheduled to star in a series on Disney+, so he'll certainly be back in some capacity. The return of these final two characters in Endgame are by far the most surprising. First, Gamora is confirmed to appear. In Avengers 3, Thanos traded her life for the Soul Stone, but actor Zoe Saldana has repeatedly said that Gamora is part of Endgame. Saldana even posted a photo on Instagram of her getting made up as the character. It's possible that Gamora's appearance will be achieved via time travel or in a flashback. Rumors have also swirled that she's trapped in the Soul World. Last but certainly not least is Loki, who was the first major casualty of Thanos in Avengers 3. He may have started out in the MCU as a villain, but he's become increasingly more heroic in movie after movie. Set photos have confirmed his return in Endgame, but it looks like it will be in his villainous form. He will appear in a sequence that revisits the Battle of New York from the original Avengers movie. Whether he's resurrected as well is an open question. The character is set to headline in his own streaming series on Disney+, though, so fans shouldn't give up hope. With so many superheroes in one movie, you'll be able to catch at least a glimpse of your favorite MCU star when Endgame premieres on April 26th. And it looks like there's some good news on the horizon for some currently deceased heroes. Which superhero are you looking forward to seeing the most in Endgame? Join the conversation in the comments down below. Also, if you enjoyed this video, subscribe to The Binger for more great content. Thanks for watching.